Hello, this is Chris C., the founding director of the Cardstack Project, coming to you today from the land of the Web3. Today, I want to continue to have a discussion about what type of product you can build on top of the Cardstack framework and environment. One of the very important aspects of usage of cryptocurrency is payments. And sometimes we forget that the original Bitcoin paper says peer-to-peer cash, right? Payment between people. But as the fees on mainnet, whether that's the Bitcoin version or the Ethereum version, gone up, the denomination, the amount of money you need to pay before the gas fee, whether it's $50 or $20 makes sense, has tremendously changed the perception of what can be put on the blockchain. Fortunately, with layer 2 technology coming into the foray, it's now possible for us to say, hey, if a payment is only going to cost a fraction of a penny, maybe we can start using cryptocurrency and stablecoins and other type of innovative smart contract-backed DeFi instrument to go ahead and actually do practical day-to-day payment involving things that looks like e-commerce or decentralized commerce or d-commerce. So today I'm going to talk to you about something we've been working on, which is called CardPay. It's a payment and reward network that is designed for the creator market. Obviously, the creator market is very broad for us. For the Cardstack ecosystem, our creators are developers and designers building new types of card, new types of mini application you can assemble in your environment that can replace the SaaS app or the platform, centralized platform of Silicon Valley. But one of the things that came and became clear to us as we developed this payment network or reward network to distribute user revenue or customer revenue to developer and designers is to say, hey, that same mechanism, especially we built on layer 2 technology, could actually be used by other people who are not developers, not designers, just people who are making either media or goods or services or membership or community. They can tap into the same idea, the same mechanism that we use for efficient, fast, cheap, and easy payment and tap into that amazing mobile application experience pioneered by Wallet Connect and make it all happen. So today we're going to talk about this aspect, the actual day-to-day payment aspects of the Cardstack ecosystem. So let's jump right in. So recall when we were talking about last week on grow the Cardstack ecosystem, we see Cardstack as a virtuous cycle where customers use tools that's built by developers to build new content and data that they can launch into shared spaces and then transact with each other, pay vendors and providers, and then that drives spending that allows us to reward developer and designers and other people to create more tools of which then you can create new content and data and experiences based on this shared open source library. So these are roughly the arrows that goes around. So hopefully this cycle never ends. It just goes in a circle and build up this communal catalog of capability and content and memberships and organizations that enriches everybody who participate. But today we're going to focus on this aspect. Because this is about payment and rewards, like how do we conduct transactions and how can that transaction lead to a very fair and rewarding experience for the people participating. So let's jump right in. So the simplest way to think about transactions is a customer spends $15 to a merchant and the merchants now have this balance. So this is kind of like sending a credit card payment or prepaid card payment in this case. The only difference between prepaid card and credit card is prepaid card you need to deposit in an account before you can use it, which in a cryptocurrency sense, that's how every wallet that has ETH or stable coins work. You have to first deposit it. Now, rewards is a bit different. Rewards is when the merchants say, thank you for your loyalty and patronage and coming to my coffee shop. Here's some points you can use. And these points, when you accumulate enough of it, will allow you to redeem a free cup of coffee. Or in the airline example, thank you for flying United Airlines and here's some miles that you earn. You can redeem those miles and then use it in a future sense. So if you look at it, kind of zoom out a little bit, transactions go in two directions. Customers spend a prepaid balance, merchants earn that balance, And in turn, the merchant can offer some sort of reward token or reward items, and the customer can redeem them. So there's two directions that goes back and forth. Now, obviously, not every single spending need to have a type of reward, but I think this is one of those things where we've learned in the traditional commerce or even retail world that loyalty and customer mileage program is a great way to keep people continue engaging with the brand. And so that's a good idea. So this type of point systems are based on a formula. So in this case, you get 20 points per dollar spent. And these are rules. They're kind of like airdrops of some sort if we think about that from a cryptocurrency, which is based on how some method and activity history, we can then determine what you're going to get. But here's the cool thing about points is that if the merchant were to say, hey, thank you for being my customer. You can pay me $15 for this thing, or you can redeem using the points you have earned. Let's say the 300 points you have earned before. You can use points instead of cash. Now, the merchant can redeem this at one-to-one value, say, oh, let me cash it out. But sometimes, and this is similar to hotel points, where the hotel's points are worth more redeeming from the hotel chain versus trying to trade it for another gift card. You get less redemption value. There are many websites like the Points Guy where they would analyze different ways to evaluate your points of different mileage system and find a maximum way of getting as much value as possible. So people know this, regular people, not crypto people, how to leverage the conversion of these kind of a ratio to get the most out of your spend. So rewards can be non-monetary. So what does that mean? That what I can give in return when you come and spend some money on my platform, I can give you a coupon or a voucher. In this case, get a free month of my service. And this free month of service is available to anybody who possesses this voucher. So you can give it to your friend. Say, hey, I already have a subscription. Let me give you my voucher and you try this out. Well, what you realize is that if we have another this type of things where if I earn enough points, I may get a higher status. The status is like earning an airline miles status where I can earn more rewards. Like I can double the rewards when I fly the same flight because I am Diamond Elite, right? So these things are not monetary, which is not fungible. So they're not like a fungible assets. They're non-fungible tokens, they're NFTs. So this is the interesting thing about rewards is that the reward system can distribute non-fungible token to the customer, and then they can use it to either, in some cases, in the area of a voucher, they can come and redeem and come and give back this voucher to the merchant and kind of have it tear up, and then say you've used it up. There was a certificate coupon, scan it once, can't use again. Whereas a badge is more like a requirement. You must be a VIP before you can go and view my latest work within the first 30 minutes, right? So it could be like a VIP where you can get in to the place, the venue before other people are because you have this badge. So it's a very interesting compositional thing, leveraging this idea of tokens, right? So these are stable coins and points are kind of fluctuating volatile currencies. And then the badges are like permanent non-transferable status to prove that you have loyalty, or a voucher that can be redeemed and destroyed and burned in the cryptocurrency sense. So this is a very interesting mapping between these concepts that people understand and the existing operating units that we are working on in DeFi and the Ethereum space. So zooming out a little bit, the acceptance payment method when a customer spend money with a merchant would be either fresh balance, new money coming in, $15 paying full price, and then the merchants earn some new USD balance. The other one is a reward point, so it's like a way to earn back the reward point, and you can destroy it. It's almost like claiming coffee, a free little punch card, and you tear it up when you redeem it. And that could represent a discount, so maybe cheaper to redeem relative to the USD value from the merchant using the points they've issued. And in this case, a promotional voucher. What's really interesting about vouchers is that you can gift it or you can airdrop it, you can give it away, and these are all ways to get more attention, to get more potential customers. So the customer spending goes through a reward program calculation. So when you spend the $15 between the customer, there's actually a set of analytics. So something that's listening to all the activity in blockchain. And there are currently 3 or 4 active programs. They all can say, oh, I want to give some free gifts or free tokens or free voucher, or even in this case, the competitors can be looking at transaction between a customer and their merchant and say, hey, I can give you a free trial of my services because you spend it to my competitor. Now, not all of these could be pretty spammy, so that there needs to be some sort of a allow list to make sure that people do not get spammed with programs and reward tokens or reward vouchers. But I think this idea that because we're leveraging this on-chain history, we're able to really tally or calculate or monitor what's going on in the spending network, and in a very permission and open and a composable way, have merchants. It could be the merchant that you're spending money with, or it could be the Cardstack network. Like, we are just giving card token as a value, a ratio, to make sure that everybody, much like using a American Express card, you earn membership reward point, one of the most prestigious program in the credit card point space, and that creates the loyalty and then partnership with other airlines or whatever it might be, comes from the fact that there's a large and growing loyal customer base that understand that they're building something together when they participate. So that's kind of how we translate between the payment side of it, which we call the card protocol, which is the actual protocol of creating prepaid cards, having reward token being wrapped in like a membership card, and then this upgrade and status and little badges, a little shiny thing on the card that reflects your status. And then the tally protocol is about monitoring the transaction history of these various type of on-chain payment and purchasing transaction, and then distribute rewards of different sorts. And so those rewards can be in various denominations, encoding points, tokens, and vouchers. So this circle of spend, earn, offer, redeem, spend, earn, offer, redeem is another cycle, maybe not as virtuous as the one that requires contribution, because people are actually spending and this is part of commercial activity, but it's certainly something that would drive velocity of money and currency. And as you know, that is a big driver of what a successful and growing economy, decentralized one, the one we're building, is based on. So that's roughly what it looks like. This is the loop. As we mentioned on the top of this talk, we need that to be an extremely cost-effective loop. So you don't want every action here to cost $20. Then this is not going to go very fast, or the denomination has to be very high to justify the gas fee. So what we're doing is we're doing this inner loop inside XDAI chain, which is a growing, leading sidechain based on the Ethereum virtual machine. So the smart contract we write for mainnet will work with some modification or a little modification on the XDAI chain. And what we're doing in Layer 1, which is this outer dotted line here, is that we are only doing with the withdraw and deposit. So that when a person, or when a person who wants to spend money on the XDAI chain, they will have to deposit some sort of stable coin reserve. So like, hey, here's $100 worth of DAI. Let me put it to Layer 1, lock it away. In a concept called total value locked. So it's locking a value in a smart contract, and then we mint tokens in the XDAI chain, a layer 2 kind of digital twin, and that's what essentially becomes the denomination that goes around this network. And then when the merchants earn that portion of the thing, they can then redeem or withdraw from the reserve pool in layer 1 in aggregate. So they don't have to do it every day. They may do it every other day, every week, every month, or if they trust the balance on this XDAI chain, which is a real blockchain, they can redeem it, never, right? So this idea here is that the reserve pool is always there. You can always exit out, but it's not really a requirement. So we can make sure that people think about their transaction and day-to-day things as a very low cost, in some case less than 0.03 cents of cost in using these kind of layer 2 solutions. Now for reward token, a similar thing happens. So someone who wants to offer their free loyalty points will have to deposit that into a reserve pool and then register the program within the Tally protocol and say, hey, anybody who spends something in the category NFT, I want to give them these airdrops or these kind of reward tokens or vouchers. And then when the members, someone who earned these reward token, will redeem it using a very similar mechanism is ERC20 going in and out. In some cases, ERC721 coming out of the reserve pool, which is the non-fungible token thing. So the reserve pool, in a protocol sense, in a DeFi protocol sense, will count towards the total value lock of the card protocol. So as we grow the economy, grow the velocity of money, the reserve pool is essentially the economic bandwidth of what is available to spend. Now, one thing that becomes really clear is that to make this really user-friendly, nobody can really figure out how you would do layer 1 and 2. You need 2 wallets or you need to switch between the wallet. So part of what we've decided to do is to focus very much on the user experience and simplifying it in a way. So there's really 2 aspects of it. One aspect is that we have to think about who needs what type of user-facing application to do their workflow. Is there a difference between like what a customer needs if they just want to buy something? A merchant, maybe a person who has tokens or want to distribute reward token that they want to give to the community. They have very different needs. So what we decided to do is to say, okay, let's analyze exactly what needs to happen and what layer each of these apps needs to touch. So our conclusion is that most end user only need to touch the mobile app and it's layer 2 only. So they're just doing this spending and earning. The Web3 dApp, the app that has to onboard value from layer 1 or from mainnet and to be able to actually bring the actual value in, will need to have a type of dashboard for both customer, merchants, token suppliers, and liquidity provider. We'll talk about what their roles are in a second. But this idea here is that you are basically using the web dApp or the Web3 experience to do all the complicated bridging that comes between layer 1 and layer 2. But once the values in layer 2, customers just needs to use a mobile app that's pre-configured, aligned, and optimized for payments on layer 2. Okay, so Wallet Connect, which is one of my favorite thing in the DeFi or the Web3 space, allows you to say, I just want to connect this merchant or this store. I'm going to scan a QR code and suddenly my wallet has a direct connection to it. This is very similar to what, especially in China, people use WeChat Pay or Alipay to do. There's this kind of like handshake where the user interface, the checkout is on your phone. Something very similar is happening in Wallet Connect, and this is an amazing ability for us to tap into these type of balances that exist in this mobile app and to make it happen. But before we talk too much about how that works in terms of the user experience, let's take a little bit of a look at what is the separation of duty between layer 1 and layer 2. So this is a kind of a somewhat complicated but actually pretty straightforward diagram. All it says is that the Ethereum mainnet is where the deposit and withdrawal happens, and there is a concept called card purchase. We'll get to that in a second. And that card allows you to have the store balance, and then once you purchase a card, almost like buying a phone card from someone, and then you can be able to use that as a way to create this new interaction. So this bridging part is very similar to a lot of the Omni bridge or XDAI bridge that exists in the layer 1, layer 2 world, where you just deposit thing into a smart contract, in this case the smart card protocol smart contract, and then through something called an arbitrary message bridge, we mint a equivalent token once we locked it, and then that becomes available in a wallet that's on layer 2. And then this wallet may be something that exists for someone in bulk. So you may be bringing 100,000 USD worth of value from layer 1 layer 2. Because remember, when you're moving or minting layer 2 token from layer 1, you're paying a layer 1 fee, which could be $80 or $100 when gas price is high. So what we want to do is to have a few people do it. So these people are called suppliers. There are people who are like almost like importing something into an island. Let's say you have an island that has a general store. Someone just bring a bunch of snacks into a truck or in a boat, and then they import all of it in bulk, and then they will retail it locally, which is an insight that we have. Maybe what we should do is to let the supplier create this prepaid card, split the card into little bits and pieces, so $100 denomination, and then sell the card to people. And the great thing about selling prepaid card and the way we implement it is that each prepaid card is kind of like a smart contract wallet. So when you want to sell someone a smart contract wallet, all you have to do is assign them the owner. So let's say I have a customer who has never used crypto before, install a wallet, and the wallet has an address. As long as someone do an Apple Pay, take some money, fiat money or something like that, and then assign a prepaid card that's already generated on the shelf on layer 2 to that user now has $100 worth of spend they can pay a merchant within the next minute. No need to go through a bridge, no need to wait for confirmation. It's all kind of retail. It's already ready to be delivered. So it's a little bit of a thinking around using the idea that prepaid card itself is a product that you can sell. In this case for Apple Pay or for fiat for debit card payment. In return, you get this immediately usable smart contract wallet already have a preloaded balance. And when the customer decides to spend the money, they're spending it from this layer 2 balance without ever having to touch layer 1 or costing gas fee or spending money in an expensive network. And when the merchant gets it, the merchant accumulates these kind of additional $5, $10, stuff like that in their own safe, in their own smart contract wallet. It's only when they want to withdraw it, they can decide, do I want to withdraw it to just the layer 2 and then accumulate it there? Or no, I actually want to exit all the way out to withdraw to layer 1. So this would be something that is freely owned and tradable, and even on Uniswap on layer 1. And that's an exciting approach of using this separation of duty where suppliers take responsibility of onboarding a user, right? Because they can just have tokens already on this network ready to go kind of on the island without having to wait for 4 to 6 days for shipping. So that's a big idea. So what we decided to do was to get a very, very focused effort to go and do an end-to-end test on a couple of concepts. So what we did was to say, wow, we're combining a lot of things. We have a front-end dApp, and then we have our own smart contract. We're using Gnosis Safe as prepaid card. We're using transaction service to get the balance because smart contract wallet is not exactly the same as an on-chain balance. We want to use meta transactions. We're using a relay service from the Gnosis team, which allows you to only have ERC20 like tokens in your smart contract wallet without any gas token. Right? No ETH, no XDAI, which is a gas token or XDAI network. You don't need to load 2 types of token or 2 types of value into your account. You can just use your ERC20, in this case, the stable coin balance within your prepaid card, and then a relayer will say, I'll pay the gas fee for you, and they'll redeem what they owe in terms of the fronted gas fee from a pool plus a margin, so they can make some money for operating the node. So we're using Gnosis Relay Service. It's kind of off-the-shelf open source project, and then the wallet connect things. So what you can see here in this particular quick double-speed demo is how you can use MetaMask as a way to onboard the layer 1 thing. So this is transferring something that you have on a DAI that you have on mainnet as a supplier and bringing it in bulk through the arbitrary message bridge on XDAI onto the XDAI network. And once you confirm it, and again, there's some cost to it, you can now take this particular balance that exists in a depot, which is a holding area, and it would generate a 1,000 spend, which is about $10 prepaid card. And then you can use a different wallet. So this is Rainbow Wallet, configured to support XDAI. So Rainbow Wallet is the famous Ethereum wallet. And that's how you get the balance onto there. And now you have a prepaid card that was generated from a balance that you have on layer 1. And then you can say, hey, I want to give a prepaid card, split out $3 and give it to my friend so he has $3 to spend. And you create basically another prepaid card in your wallet. But then that time, you can be able to generate almost like splitting a card into 2 cards, right? And then from that point on, you can transfer that card, right, to another address. And this is another person, and you just sign another transaction. Notice the message transfer request is a little messed up over here. It's because we're actually building a meta transaction that exists without having to have any gas fee. So we're just basically signing your permission from your wallet, and then the relay is actually conducting the transaction. We have some screens. I'll show you how we improve on that interface and make it easier to people to understand, because meta transaction with message signing request is somewhat obtuse, and we want to improve on that. We're using our design system to handle that. So we've shown how you can go up the ladder in the diagram in this end-to-end test. The second end-to-end test is this one, which is, now that I have this balance, what can I do? So this is what it looks like. So I have a balance, I have prepaid card, I'm a customer. Now I can go to a store, and this is a merchant store, and get a bridge version for the test, where I can say I want to buy this avatar, and then this is the token transfer, right? You just paid a person for almost nothing, sign a transaction in your wallet. It's faster than I can even talk about it. And that's the idea here, is that when the customer gets involved into this XDAI-based network enabled by the set of smart contract and efficiency that we've built on top of Gnosis, Rainbow Wallet, all these kind of open source things that we're contributing back with our improvement and customization and integration, we are able to get this basic protocol orchestration to work. But here's the thing. We want to improve on the design. So that end-to-end test was really confidence building. It's like, hey, this idea of this orchestration works, but how can we make it as good as possible? So I'm showing you some sneak peek of the work in progress as we prepare for an end user facing beta of the CardPay application and the dApp. So the first thing I want to show you is that the process of issuing a prepaid card could be a little bit confusing. So what we want to do is to leverage our Cardstack workflow, some of which you have seen some of these design elements, which is part of the Boxel design system, a set of reusable UI components that we create. And this is showing you how we can use a combination of messages like hello, it is nice to see you, and these kind of animating and expanding and reducing milestone auto-scrolling capability to walk you through what would have been a very complicated set about creating a prepaid card. So we explain to you and you show you using card metaphor each step of the way as you sign, wait for approval, look at the actual blockchain explorer. These are all incorporated into it. And this prepaid card balance in your wallet is now added to your workflow, and it's also reflected on the dashboard that when you click on this thing. So that's the idea here. It's a multi-step workflow, and there's many of these workflows. There is at least 4 or 5 of it to orchestrate, but it's the same type of UI, same type of user experience that we need to orchestrate as you go from 0% to 33%, 66% to 100% to complete this multi-step workflow. Now, if you don't have a wallet or you're missing a smart contract deploy, we'll insert a step to make sure you go and do those steps to catch up, to make sure that you're not missing a prerequisite. And that's one of the most difficult things about cryptocurrency application. If you have everything set up, your MetaMask is set up, you've got your pools, you've got your unlocked token spend, things are really easy. To get the first time, even getting some ETH into your wallet to spend or getting Coinbase account, each one of the things requires you to backtrack and backtrack and backtrack. So our workflow system is helping you linearize the idea that most of these steps can be put into a sequence, and you can kind of teach people in a blog post how to do that. But how much better is if we actually go ahead and orchestrate using this workflow system to look at your wallet, look at what you're missing, and then insert steps and milestones as you need to complete the work. And it's like a bot. You're not actually talking to a person, even though it's conversational. The bot is actually helping you get through this type of things. The second thing I want to talk about is that this idea of the confirmation cards. So notice when we were earlier, we have this message signing request, which has this kind of like JSON, code structure for you to reason about what's going on. And a lot of confirmation that you get when you're doing Face ID or Touch ID to confirm are very hard to understand. We have this idea of action confirmation card, where we summarize where is something coming from, what are you doing to it, where is it going to, and trying to use the common design patterns to show you what happens of the action to issue the card, to split the card, right? Because you have 10 each here, to reload the card from where, and to pay the card to whom, to a merchant. And they are all follows a very consistent design system. And what I am hoping to see as we work on these kind of confirmation cards is as these interactions become more and more about things that has not money. Like I am issuing your membership because you've been a loyal customer, or I am joining this group and I want to get a badge in return, or I am giving you permission to represent me in a kind of like a power of attorney kind of way. These are all new type of action that needs very clear confirmation. And we want to be able to show the actual underlying JSON structure or the on-chain transaction and some EIP in the Ethereum space working on that, and we want to support that. But for end user, for an everyday person, we got to put it in English. We're going to use design system as a way to make that easy to understand. So working through these kind of activity-driven summary so that you're confident, inspiring, pressing the button, that is a really important thing. Now, these confirmation cards are baked into the wallet application, so it cannot be it's not something you can create yourself, and it's part of the mobile app runtime. So we want to make sure that that creates a level of trustworthiness as well. And then the next thing is obviously my favorite thing, motion design. Trying to connect ideas for example, there's two motion we're working on to make the mobile app even more friendly. One is this idea of isolation, so drilling into a card. So this idea that you have this balance that you want to go into and you can just kind of tap into it, and it kind of expands from the seams and it isolates in the view. And that's a really important way of saying, hey, each of these cards is actually its own wallet, right? It's its own smart contract wallet that you want to tap into. And we want to have that illusion when you expand it. On the other hand, we also understand that these things are grouped together. So you've got your reward cards and prepaid cards together, and they're all just like very sophisticated grouping that allows you to kind of see this as your digital identity, especially as you go into Web3 and own more and more of your sovereignty. Right? So that's the basic idea of the improvement of taking that basic end-to-end test, and with our additional both auditing and new features that we're bringing in, actually getting ready to introduce to a group of people who have been either skeptical or turned off, or in some cases don't know what it does for you, and say, you know what, you can now buy things from your favorite merchant, and those merchant could be your creator, people you follow on Twitter, and they may be using crypto to do NFTs. So that's kind of a hot thing, digital art and limited drops and stuff like that. But there's a lot also of memberships and community token and new engagement, or you must own one of my art to buy one of my drops, and you must have engaged with me at least 6 months ago before you can do this thing, because you have been a long-term kind of has seniority over the other people. There are many gameplay between the give and take of spending and earning and getting non-fungible token, not only as a kind of collectible, but also as a prerequisite for future transaction. Very much like how games work, like you gotta have a certain like guild membership before you can do this quest or what it might be. And we can then model those things with this wallet, this card-based infrastructure, connecting it to real world, especially if people need to spend new money, fresh USD value to get something and bring capital and revenue into the network. Very important for DeFi to grow like that. So, these are the things we're working on CardPay. We're migrating the CardPay dApp to use the Boxel design system. So there's a lot more reusable component we're adding to our library. Animation runtime, we are actually making it much easier to do all the animation you've seen by pushing a lot of the animation code down into the runtime and just be more declarative. And then also interaction patterns for isolation and swipe. All these things are part of the design system so that a developer, even a developer working on a first-party Cardstack application, don't need to worry about those things as actually baked in. We are tailoring the React Native application. So going beyond Rainbow Wallet, which is what you saw as we kind of rig it so that it talks to XDAI, we're actually going to go and make that application much more like a Cash App or much like a WeChat Pay, and then getting away from the investment type of orientation and language into more day-to-day payment and use cases. And we will, as based on community feedback, support both iOS and Android. The iOS version will launch a little bit earlier, but we're ensuring that the Android version not only builds, but runs and passes the test as we add new features to the React Native code base. And then obviously, the hot idea of the moment, we're going to incorporate NFT, a non-fungible token, as a first-class merchandise. It is most obvious that when you're using a cryptocurrency payment mechanism, you're buying something in return. And that means badges, one-time usage, vouchers, obviously collectible membership card, random packs, like things that are being composed and experimented right now. And I don't think the NFT is the be-all end-all of what crypto payment can do. And you can certainly buy membership to regular clubs. You can buy digital goods that settle across border with shipment and customs associated with it. You can buy patent rights. You can buy a license to music. You can buy many, many things using a digital payment or crypto payment rail. But what's important is that the composability of blockchain greatly exceeds the composability of traditional finance. So the imagination of what you can build in one app through one wallet, one Web3 based wallet connect based wallet, I don't think we have really tapped into that possibility space yet. And what we hope to do in Cardstack is to show through the CardPay application the idea that this is a very flexible wallet. And then maybe after a while people realize, wait, this is not just a wallet for value. It's turning into my membership deck. These are all the places I have affinity with. This is close to becoming my identity, how I want to portray myself, more so than my driver license and my leather physical wallet. This is more me than almost anything else you can find in my apartment or house. That is that the cards in your wallet, this stack of card in your wallet, is your identity. And that's Cardstack, right? So it's a stack of cards that represent you and what you can do and permission for you to go and interact with other people and enter other spaces. And that's, I think, why this CardPay thing is really a stepping stone towards the Cardstack application, especially the Cardstack mobile application, being the entry point, right, of your life in the decentralized web. And so we want to take baby steps. We want to take one step at a time, solve the current problem and the opportunity of building a cost-effective, fast, cheap, and easy way, leveraging layer 2, to build payments for commerce, decentralized commerce, especially around NFT. But the ambition here is simple. The idea is that every person who's a customer is also a merchant. Anytime you buy something, you can then sell something. No need to go through a complicated process. You just like, oh, I'll create a merchant kind of row, and then suddenly you have a store and you can resell anything that you have purchased, or you can issue your own vouchers if you want to provide 1 hour of your service or consultation as part of the thing. But you can also add NFT to say only people who have followed me and have been good to me will get this permission. This type of composability will require us to use a tool like a no-code tool where you can configure these deals. What's amazing about Shopify, which is a leader in building e-commerce website, is not just the fact that you can build a very nice store. Yes, that is very important, the template and the usability for the customer, but it's also a tool that synthesizes all the complicated merchandising, inventory management, tax management tool that one person signing on Shopify in about an hour, a week, or a day, it depends on how sophisticated, you can have what used to be a multi-year project or e-commerce project for a major merchant, and you can get it done. And I believe there's this opportunity for CardPay in this narrow initial way to be the Shopify for digital or decentralized commerce, leading with this NFT use case. So I just want to give you guys that overview. There's going to be a lot more coming. The protocol aspects of it is sophisticated, and then we want to make sure that we solve all the hard problem and leave the opportunities for people to add new type of product, new type of NFT, new type of even reward program and voucher type as they go. But we want to provide the beginning of the substrate so that we can actually build on top of this ecosystem. This is going to be deployed on the XDAI network, something that we believe that because the Gnosis team, which we rely on for the smart contract wallet infrastructure, has already done a lot of work, we're going to begin there. It is our understanding that we are moving to a multi-chain world. So to the degree that the reserve pool in layer 1 can be bridged into one or more chain, whether it's optimistic Ethereum or even Binance Smart Chain, if that makes sense. As long as they're Ethereum compatible or supports the type of protocol, especially Tally protocol, which is listening to spend activity in one or more chains and be able to distribute reward in a rule-based way. We want to be able to make Cardstack not only a wallet that works within XDAI chain, and we're optimizing for that, but a multi-chain wallet, especially with Wallet Connect 2.0 supporting those protocol up front. So it's something that we are definitely thinking about with the goal that your digital life, no matter which chain or which protocol is on, is centralized and reorient around you. Cardstack is just your support and runtime to make that happen. So thank you very much for your time today. We'll give you guys more information and circulate a paper around our thinking about CardPay and how it relates to the other activity within the cryptocurrency, especially Ethereum space. And until next time, we'll chat again soon. Thank you.